visitors or media present? No? No? Okay. We will now look at the minutes from our January meeting. That was a long time ago. Do we remember what we did? Might need to look back at that a little bit, but we need to approve the committee minutes from the January meeting.
Make a motion to
hear-
approve the minutes as presented.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from the January meeting. Do I have a second?
Haney, second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Are we all in favor? Okay. Now let's look at the agenda for today, the March 3rd meeting today. Do I have a motion that we approve the agenda for our committee meeting today?
So moved, Madam Chair.
We have a motion to approve the agenda for today. Do we have a second?
Trent, second.
I failed to mention at the beginning, but just so everybody knows who the committee is made up of. It's been so long since we've been together. We need to remember. It's Mr. Haney on the end, Mr. Harrington down this way somewhere. I can't see him, but I think he's down there. David right next to me, so I can punch him when I need a motion. And Miss Elmore, who joined us yesterday as a new member of our board. Okay, and me. That's our committee. All right, we have no one signed up for public comment, so let's get on to our items for approval. The first thing that we're going to look at today is the identification of critical need subject areas for 26-27. Sherry, is it Snyder?
Yes, Sherry Schneider.
Sherry Snyder, she was the team leader of that area, and she's going to talk to us about that.
All right, good morning, everyone. So we have 3 items, but the first one is approval of the critical subject areas. So annually, the state board approves the subject areas which teachers will use for student loan forgiveness. And once the board approves them, we share this information with SE Student Loan. And we develop these areas by using the SARA supply and demand study. This year, 99% of the school districts responded to the study, so we only had one school district that didn't respond, so we feel pretty confident in the information that we received. And we use a federal formula to determine the critical subject areas. We used to use, prior to 2022, we had a formula where we selected the top 10 with the highest percentage of vacancies, and vacancies are positions that are not filled, positions that are filled by those in alternative programs, or positions that are filled by those on a permit, is per the federal government determined a vacancy. So we now have switched to using the federal formula. So the federal formula basically says that as long as the total number of vacancies does not exceed 5% of the overall FTEs, we can then add pretty much all the all the subject areas as critical subject areas. So that is what we have been doing since 2022. So that's what you are here to approve today, is the critical subject areas for student loan, and that information is also given to the federal government for the federal student loan forgiveness.
Are there any questions of Ms. Snyder about this? So basically, every subject at a high school is going to fall into this category.
And in elementary school.
And in elementary school.
Yeah, it looks like there's 31 or something on this. I mean, nothing we're missing. It's pretty much
Yeah, there's nothing removed from the
from
that's a
elementary to
comprehensive
driver's ed
list.
to everything's critical, basically.
Every subject area.
Any other questions? Mr. Chair, can we vote for all these at one time, or do we need to do them individually?
I think the subjects. No, it's just one item. Just one item.
Oh, do it as one item. Thank you. Okay, good. All right, the next thing then Ms. Snyder's going to talk about is identification of the geographic areas.
Correct. So the next item is exactly that, the identification of the geographic areas. And this is set, the way we determine this is set by state statute. So there's 3 criteria. an absolute rating of below average or unsatisfactory on the report card, a 3-year teacher turnover rate of 20% or higher, or a poverty index of 70% or higher. So a school can meet on any one of those 3 criteria, and they would be determined to be a critical geographic needs area school. If you have the spreadsheet, on the spreadsheet, the shaded cell shows that the school meets a particular criteria. So you may see one school may meet in 3 of the criteria, one school may meet in 1 of the criteria, but you only need to meet in 1 to be added to the list, to be a part of the critical geographic area. Primary schools and CTE centers, they don't have report card ratings, so those fields are marked as not applicable on the spreadsheet. Poverty index is not calculated for CTE centers. Instead, that poverty index comes from their base school. If the school does not have 4 years of data for teacher turnover, then you'll see not applicable there, because we just simply didn't have the data. And this data comes from our SCDE IT department, runs the data for us. And if a rating wasn't issued for the school, you'll see that it says not rated. There are 429 total schools on the list, and of that, 891 qualify for the critical geographic area. Questions?
So that number, 400, how many? 400 and,
1,429, sorry. I think
goodness.
I misspoke.
So that encompasses every district in the
Right,
state?
that's all the schools, and of those, 891 qualify in one of those areas.
Wow. Anybody else have a question?
Just a quick question. I saw we have a few, obviously, the charter districts and things of that nature. Has that increased a little bit?
On this critical needs list, in turn, what does that mean for them? What will they be able to do?
Well, this is for our student loan, and in a minute, we'll talk about the retired educator salary cap. So if a person has a loan, they may qualify by subject area, because it's on the subject area list, which we now know is all of them, or they may qualify because they work in a school that's in a critical geographic area. So that's why this list is. And then again, we'll talk about the retired salary cap. This also comes into play there.
Okay, thank you.
So it basically affects the staff, not the school itself in terms of students. That
Right,
you
this is for student
It's
loan
for-
forgiveness.
Student loan forgiveness for staff. Okay. That's what I thought, but I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, our third item is the critical need designation of employment of retired teachers. And this is all for 26, 27.
Correct. So this will encompass both our critical subjects, our critical geographic, for allowing educators that are retired to waive that salary cap. The only thing difference here, so you'll see all the schools that you approve will be on this list. And additionally, we'll have supermajority districts. So if a district had 67% or more of the schools qualify in the critical geographics area, then the entire district is deemed a supermajority district, so retired educators can use that. So basically, we're saying if you're retired, you have the salary cap, you need to either be in a critical geographic area, school or subject area.
I know this is, can I ask a question?
Certainly, certainly.
So, all subjects are critical needs, correct?
Yes.
So it's just a double windfall that if I'm in a geographic need,
Well, and it does come into to play with the principal.
Okay.
If you were a retired principal and you want to go back into that field, that it has to be a geographic area, it's not a subject area.
So, could I ask a question, please? So what you're really doing is, this is incentives that you're offering for the teachers in these three categories, retired or not certified for that particular subject area, or live in a demographic area where that's an issue. So it's just incentives for those people, and it's loan forgiveness and that kind of thing.
Correct, to
So it's sort of
qualify
a
for.
recruiting tool,
Right,
a
correct.
retention tool, I see.
That is correct.
Okay.
So for a person that has a student loan from college and they're in one of these districts or subject areas, each year, I'm understanding so much of that loan is forgiven, then after a certain many years, the total loan is forgiven. Is that correct?
Depending on the loan. So they could have a SC student loan, which has a criteria and an amount that they forgive annually, or they could have a federal loan, and the federal government has criteria that they forgive annually, depending on the subject area and the location, or the two combined.
This is where they have to apply for that. It's not automatic, correct?
Correct.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair, I'll say, before we hit a major shortage, like take elementary education, used to, you would have a number of applications. Now you do not. But in those days before the shortage, you could have an elementary education person that didn't qualify for the critical subject area, but they could qualify for the geographic area. Now
Correct.
with the shortage, all subjects are on the list and pretty much all the geographic areas on the list. There's more opportunity for the forgiveness. But I think it's easier to understand in the prior days when so many were not on that critical subject area, and now they are. You
Right,
probably
previously-
you probably used to count those critical areas on two hands almost years and years before. Math, science, special ed, Spanish, but now it takes you 2 pages.
Yes, that's literally true. So when I
Yeah.
used to do this, prior to 2022, and I would present, I would have 10 to 12 subject areas that were approved, and that was it. So you could only qualify on those, and elementary was almost never on there. Because of the sheer number of elementary teachers, it was hard to get that to a shortage, even though we know it is a shortage.
So for the retired teachers, that basically removes the salary cap.
Correct.
Can districts still choose to do that? If they, go
As
ahead.
I understand it, if a district hires a retired teacher, they can come back, and if it's a critical needs, and then the salary cap is removed, that $10,000 salary cap is removed, and they can earn a full salary. Is that correct?
Correct.
Without losing the retirement benefits.
Yeah.
It doesn't impact
So
their
it's
benefits.
it's basically a moot point then, because all subject areas, all geographic areas, it's a moot point, right?
Well, it's
Right.
not
Am I
all
understanding?
areas,
Help me here, okay,
not all areas
Okay.
geographically are listed.
but majority.
There's a majority of schools, so out of the 81 possible districts, 52 of them are super majorities, so 52 of the districts qualify for geographic. Then it would go by school. There could be, of the other remaining districts, some schools within that district that
Would be.
qualify geographically. And again,
And
it
then by
would,
subject.
yeah, and that would come into play when you're a principal that retired and when you want to come back to work, but you want to be able to not jeopardize your retirement.
Yeah.
You would need to be in one of those geographic,
Yeah,
critically geographic areas. So it's not all of them.
okay. Okay, are we clear on this now, everybody?
Just one quick question. For a supermajority district, is any personnel outside of classroom teachers, building principals, anybody outside of that, do they fall under this, where they would be able to have a salary, waiver of salary cap? Like if you're district administration personnel or anything like that?
The school administration, yes, you would fall under that exemption. If you went back to being a principal in a critical geographic.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
At one time, or is it still presently, that you can make up to 50,000?
I do not know that answer. The cap up to 50,000?
What is that?
She said
On
at one time
teachers?
you could make up to 50,000?
There was a proviso
Okay.
for several years
Right.
related to that.
Right.
But going back to Mr. Trent's question, so district office personnel can't qualify under this provision. It's really related to the schools.
Oh,
So
okay.
a retired administrator can't go back and be exempt from that earnings limitation by working in the district office. They would have to be
In the
a
building.
principal or an assistant principal in a
In the
school.
building. Okay. Okay, my legal eagle tells me that we need to vote on these individually. So we'll back up to number 1, the critical needs subject area. Do I have a motion that we approve the identification listing that we have of the critical needs subject areas?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the list as provided for critical needs subject areas for 26-27.
I have a motion by Mr. Haney. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Trent.
I have a second by Mr. Trent. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Let's move on to the second item, which was critical needs geographic areas for 26-25. Do I have a motion that we approve the listing that we have for critical needs in geographic areas? A motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we accept the list as provided for critical needs geographic areas for the school year 26-27.
Okay, a motion has been made. Do we have a second?
So moved.
Was that Mr. Harrington down there? We have a second. All those in favor of approval of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, then the third one is the critical need designations of retired educators for 26-27. Do I have a motion that we approve?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the list of critical need designation for employment of retired educators for 26-27.
Mr. Harrington made the motion that we approve. Do I have a second?
Haney, second.
Mr. Haney made the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, very good. We're done with that. Thank you very much, Ms. Snyder. For information purposes, we have one item. I believe it's just one, yes. The Professional Review Committee is going to provide some updates. Is that what you're going to do for us today?
Yes, ma'am, Madam
Okay.
Chair. Good morning and good morning, committee. These items are for notification only. Just a few to go through. The Charter Inspired notified the department that they will add 2 charter schools, Compass Collegiate Academy and Youth Leadership Academy, for the 26-27 school year. Clemson University notified the department of curricular changes to the Bachelor of Arts in Elementary and Early Childhood Education program. It's changing the 15 credits of unspecified electives to a specific concentration, which includes options for English for speakers of other languages and elementary education and other faculty-approved sequences. Also, Greenville Alternative Teacher Education Program, or GATE, has notified the department that it will now implement an additional pre-service training for candidates hired for the summer training. Newberry College notified the department that it terminated the Bachelors of Science in Biology and Chemistry due to low enrollment in 2024. The Teacher AOP, Teach Anderson, Oconee, and Pickens, has this alternative route program notified the department that it has added 2 new certification fields, middle level English language and secondary English. The South Carolina Department of Education reviewed and accepted these notifications. Teach Charleston, the Charleston County School District Alternative Program for Charleston, notified the department that it will add a certification field of German PK to 12th to its world language offerings beginning in 26-27. Teach Florence 1, Florence 1 Schools Alternative Program. Teach Florence 1 notified the department that is changing its special education candidates for the 26-27 academic year Teach Florence 1 will replace EDS 8200, Language Arts Instructions for Individuals with Disabilities, to EDS SP 8720, Advanced Classroom Management. Both of these were offered through Clemson University for its special education candidates. And they gave 3 reasons for this change. 1, the structure makes sense to preparing upcoming students. Classroom management courses provide additional support with behavior management, and that the participants in this program have their literacy training through the LETTERS program that everyone in their district goes through. And then finally, the Citadel notified the department that the MAT, Masters of Art in Teaching in Secondary Chemistry, was terminated with the Commission of Higher Education prior to 2010, and this notification affirms that closure. And also, it terminated the Bachelor of Science in Modern Languages in Education, and that was effective in 2023. I'm sorry, that was a lot to get through, but any questions? Thank you.
I just had, who were the authorizers of those 2 charter schools?
It was the Charter Inspire
Okay.
Public Charter Schools.
Public
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Thank you.
So move.
I second it.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Any other business? Anything else we need to discuss? If not, do I have a motion that we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? Yes.
Second, Trent.
Yes.